Hi, everybody. Sam White here, founder at Shakespeare in Detroit. I hope you all had an amazing holiday weekend. And with only 5 days left this year, I thought this would be a perfect time for a year in review at Shakespeare in Detroit. How did our 2023 go? Amazing! Let's talk about it. So let's talk about 2023 at Shakespeare in Detroit. Our calendar year started the way it always starts, with our teaching artists being embedded with our school partners at Bog School, Clifford Academy, and the school at Marygrove. Next year, our high school partner will change. We're going to be at Western International, but we were so excited and we consider it a great success, the work that we did at the school at Marygrove, because we were even able to activate some of our incredible partnerships, like our partnership with Magna International, which, if you don't know what that is, you can totally Google them, but I'll tell you a little bit now about what they do. They make the seats for Jeeps. And so one of their designers came into one of our classrooms at the school at Marygrove, and we had one of our costume designers and one of their designers talk about the parallels between designing for an automotive template and designing for a play. And so it's really cool to be able to tie those skills together so that students can see and understand that the skills that you learn in theater are certainly, most certainly, absolutely adaptable to many industries. These are transferable skills that we teach via our educational program, Shakespeare STEAM, which teaches the science of lighting a production, the technology of sound design, the engineering of a form or costume, the art of classical performance, and the mathematics of set building. And so we started our year in schools working with students between the ages of 8 and 18 years old, again at Bog School, Clifford Academy, and the school at Marygrove. And then in the summertime, an extension of our STEAM program is our youth conservatory, which takes place over 6 weeks. Our program is empowered and made possible through funding by way of the Max M. and Marjorie S. Fisher Foundation. Thank you to the Fisher Foundation and the amazing Fisher family for their generosity. And they've made this work possible the last several years. But our youth conservatory, it takes place, as I said, over 6 weeks. Students spend 30 plus hours with us every single week, learning more about those STEAM pillars. But their task is to rehearse and ultimately perform a Shakespeare play. This past year, 2023, they performed Macbeth. We used a translation by Play On Shakespeare by Migdalia Cruz. And Migdalia was kind enough to come to Detroit and support the students and support Shakespeare in Detroit. Thank you, Migdalia. We love you so very much. Thank you so much for making time to come all the way to Detroit from New York. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we had our 6-week conservatory, and the students, they did a beautiful job with Macbeth, directed by Emilio Rodriguez, with choreography by our amazing, incredible, multi-talented, multi-passionate managing director, Christine Palakia, along with stage combat and fight choreography by Steve Xander Carson, and then sound and lights by Valerie Compow. It was a success. The Macker students opened for our professional company. We did The Tempest. Our professional company celebrated 10 years since Shakespeare in Detroit pioneered the first ever Shakespeare in the Park experience in Detroit proper. That's right, more than a decade ago. We did that. We're innovators. We're groundbreakers. We're pioneers at Shakespeare in Detroit. And so we celebrate it with a techno tempest. So we certainly, absolutely, of course, used Shakespeare's text through and through for the Tempest, but we infused it with dance and with some late 80s, early 90s techno music, because if you didn't know, now you know. Detroit is the motherland of techno music. Juan Atkins is the inspiration, or was the inspiration, for our Prospero. He is the godfather of techno music, and if you don't know, now you know. Google it. And so it was a big celebration for Shakespeare in Detroit with The Tempest. And again, our youth production opened for the professional production. which was super, super cool. We also had a small festival in July called the Black Classical Reading Project. And the intention of this project, which we hope to continue in 2024, is to read plays that are possible classics of the future. This past summer, we read Emilio Rodriguez's God Kind of Looks Like Tupac, and then we read Morgan Breon's The Danger of Hope. And both of those plays center Black characters. Next year, we want to continue the Black Classical Reading Project with a couple of classics, already standard classics by Black playwrights that center Black characters. So we're very excited for that. Thank you to the Michigan Humanities for making that possible. And so it was a really busy year for us. We ended the year, as far as the work that we do or present to the public, with our tradition of reading Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. We read that here at Mary Grove across the way at the chapel in the Liberal Arts Building, and we had about 40 or 50 people come. We try to keep it small and intimate. We don't have a Christmas party at Shakespeare in Detroit, so we consider this our gathering of our audience and some of our company members and administrators to come and have champagne or Prosecco and cookies and candy canes. And we gave out a lot of presents. We gave out so many gifts. So mostly everyone left with something in their hands, prizes and stuff. So that was super fun. So that was our year. The STEAM work that we do in the classroom, our youth conservatory, our 10-year celebration since we pioneered Shakespeare in the Park in Detroit proper, and then A Christmas Carol. And so, it feels good. I feel like this year felt really good because it felt like we're starting to get our footing again, especially after the pandemic. The great thing about Shakespeare in Detroit, which I'm super proud of, is that we never have what we don't use and we never spend what we don't have. So we don't have any debt or anything like that. But just getting back into the rhythm of producing and keeping the work viable and reconnecting with our audience. We still have some work ahead. But this year, it feels like we're on the road to reconnecting with some of the audience members that we lost touch with. And we're re-engaging with some new audiences because there were a lot of people who had never been to a Shakespeare in Detroit production before, and they came to the Black Classical Reading Project. So again, thank you, Michigan Humanities, for making that possible. And we hope to continue the Black Classical Reading Project in 2024. So that was our year. This year coming up, 2024, we have one special event planned, which if you haven't already seen it or you haven't signed up for notifications from Shakespeare in Detroit on YouTube, you're going to miss the announcement that's coming on January 1st, where I tell you, because it's coming from the horse's mouth, what our spring 2024 special event is. And you want to make sure you watch it because there's only literally a couple of opportunities for the public to see or experience this special event. So next year we'll have a special event. We're going to bring back the Black Classical Reading Project, and then we're going to have our youth production, which we haven't announced what play that'll be yet. Stand by for that. And more on auditions and all of that for kiddos. And then we're going to have one ticketed performance, and that will end the 2023-24 season, or the 2024 season for us. We are hoping, and this is a little bit of a teaser for you all, that the 24-25 season, because remember, theater seasons begin in the fall and they go through the spring. For us, they would go start in the fall and then go through the summer because we work in the summer. But the hope is to, knock on wood, the hope for 24-25 is to have a full season. We haven't had a full season in a really long time, meaning a season where we have a fall show, a winter show, a spring show, and a summer show. The last time that we did that was 2014-15. So fall 2014, we did The Tempest at the YMCA Bowl Theater. And then in the spring, we did King Lear. And then in the summer, we did Mackers. So I guess the only thing that we didn't have was a winter show. But that was the fullest season that we've had. Usually our work is mostly summer based. So we're really looking forward to sort of changing things up a little bit and pivoting a little bit at Shakespeare in Detroit as we continue to find ways to rebuild our audience post-pandemic and all of that. So that's really exciting. More news about Shakespeare in Detroit in 2024 coming down the pike. Well, we certainly consider this year a success, a professional success. I feel very just lucky to be in a position to keep bringing this work forth in my hometown. I know Christine, our managing director, is so excited to be with educators and our teaching artists in the classroom, sharing Shakespeare, because, in most middle schools and high schools, Shakespeare is not an elective, it's required reading. So it's great. We love our Shakespeare STEAM program because we're able to go into schools and really supplement what they're already doing and invigorate the Shakespeare curriculum, because, oftentimes Shakespeare is read in classrooms and they're plays, right? So they're meant to be played. So it really is a privilege for us to be able to support educators in that way. And because of funding by way of, places like, or foundations like the Fisher Foundation, it's totally free for the community. We also have supplemental support from Greektown Casino and DTE Energy and Deloitte. And so we're very, very lucky at Shakespeare in Detroit to have some really incredible partners, active, engaged, committed partners who make this work possible and allow us to engage with young people and create a future for the arts in Detroit. Because if we don't engage young people, there will be no future audience, there will be no future patrons, donors, supporters to make this cultural experience possible. And so we're grateful. And then for our professional work, we're continuing to build and up the ante and make the work more and more impactful and beautiful and world class. I'm lucky enough to be able to work around the world. And so there's so many experiences that I'm able to bring back to Detroit and pour into Shakespeare in Detroit. I hope you can feel that love when you come to see our shows. Thank you to any and everybody out there who sends Shakespeare in Detroit love. Thank you to any and everybody who saw some of our work this year, from Macbeth to The Tempest to A Christmas Carol. Thank you to the educators that we work side by side with, our school partners, Detroit Public Schools Community District. Thank you to any and every person who has made this work possible in our 10th year. And we're so excited for the 11th season to come. It's only going up from here. I hope you can feel it. There's a really specific, I think, energy in the air where we're shifting. Shakespeare in Detroit is shifting and growing and expanding. And audience, I hope you can feel it, because I feel it. It's only gonna grow and get even juicier in the new year. So stand by for a big announcement on our special event for spring 2024. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Happy New Year! Yay! We made it! We did it! It was a success, and we will see you in 2024. Thank you, everybody. See you soon. Happy New Year!